That is how life also is. There are interactions, there are turning points in everybody's life. What decisions you take at that point of time, that decide the next course of your career, your life. It's a life-changing, I would say, course correction you do. There are inflection points which everybody goes through. So, what kind of challenges one faced at that point of time, what kind of decisions you take, and how those decisions help you reach where the legends have reached. So that is the ethos behind this entire thing. It's going to be a different program, and I request you to keep it very interactive. And there would be time for questions at the end of each one's talk. And we are following a storytelling format. We are actually wanting people to come up with it and talk about their life journey as a story, because I think we are all kids. Actually, we love to hear stories. Now, those are stories which are real stories. So those are the things which a person has gone through. So that's the format we are going to be looking at. And I hope you like the format and you will take away good learnings, because you got the best of the legends coming and talking to you about them. So please interact with them and take away your learnings. In the first session, when we are starting the day with, we got two very eminent legends with us, Mr. Subodh Bhargav and Dr. Om Manchanda. So it's my privilege to introduce both of them to you. I'll start with Mr. Subodh Bhargav. He is a mechanical engineer from IIT Roorkee. He has been the co-chairman and chief executive officer of Aisha Group of Companies. He is a former president of CII, president of the Association of Indian Automobile Manufacturers, and vice president of the Tractor Manufacturers Association. He has been associated with various central and state government bodies and committees, including as a member of the Technology Development Board, Insurance Tariff Advisory Committee, and the Economic Development Board of the state of Rajasthan, Himachal Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh. He has been closely associated with technical and management educational institutions. He was a member of Board of Governors of Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, Entrepreneur Development Institute, Ahmedabad, IIT Roorkee, IIM Indore, IIM Lucknow, NGOs, lot of NGOs, and State Bank of India, Power Finance Corporation. He is presently member of the Board of Governors of IIM Kashipur and XLRI Jamshedpur. He is currently the chairman of Tata Communications Limited, TRF Limited, GlaxoSmithKline Healthcare Limited, and director on boards of several companies including Tata Motors Limited, Tata Steel Limited, Larsen & Toubro Limited, Tata Communications International Private Limited, and Sunborn Energy LLC. Mr. Bhargav is the recipient of the first Distinguished Alumnus Award in 2005 by IIT Roorkee, the Gaurav Shri Award from Agra University in 2011, Best Independent Director 2011 by Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Sustainability, and Global India Business Leader of the Year 2013 by Horasis, which is a Global Visions community, for excellence in entrepreneurship, innovation, and leadership. So it's a great pleasure, sir, to have you here with us, and let's welcome with a round of applause. Please, sir. The second speaker for the first session today is Dr. Om Manchanda. Om Manchanda is the Chief Executive Officer of Dr. Lal Path Labs Limited. He is an alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad and has over 27 years of work experience. After graduating from the IIM MA in 1990, Om joined Unilever Groups of Companies, which is now known as Hindustan Unilever, as a management trainee. He worked for HUL for nearly 10 years in various positions such as Area Sales Manager, Innovation Manager, Senior Brand Manager, and Business Manager. In November 1999, he moved on to Monsanto India Limited as their National Marketing Manager and thereafter as their National Sales Manager. Early 2003, he joined Ranbaxy Laboratories Limited in their Global Consumer Healthcare Division and worked initially as General Manager Marketing and then General Manager International and Innovation before joining Dr. Lal Path Labs in October 2005. He has successfully led the transformation of Dr. Lal Path Labs in last nearly 12 years from a small business to a professionally run listed company. In December 2015, Dr. Lal Path Labs had a blockbuster listing on the National Stock Exchange, which we We read all in the Economic Times. It was a great achievement for the organization. So let's welcome Dr. Om Manchanda. Warm round of applause. So with this, we'll start our first session, learning from the legends. So I'll request first Mr. Bhargav to walk us through his life journey. So,
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
good morning.
Let me first thank DMA, Dr. Saxena and Mr. Kapoor for creating this opportunity for me to share some thoughts with the distinguished audience here. I'll straight get to the subject despite all the long introduction course. The theme is leadership learning. Leadership means different things to different people, but in whatever context we talk about leadership, whether it is the country, social, family, corporate, to my mind, it's not the results, the financial results, or the end product which leaders enable or actually deliver. I think the leader's key element, character, is that the leader has a vision. Leader inspires, motivates, builds institutions. And the leader in a corporate context, and I like to confine to that only, it's not the title or the designation which will give the tag of a good, successful leader to you. It's the stature you acquire within your footprint. It's not the authority you exercise because you are the general manager or managing director. It is more about the respect you earn of your organization and its people. It's not about the policies or the decisions you take as the head of a corporate or head of a company. I think its leadership is all about influencing people, influencing them in a sustained manner over a long period, just not impressing them on a one-shot interaction or session. Having got that perspective, let me talk about storytelling. I'm not adopting that model. Because first thing I learned when I joined Bangalore in Calcutta in '62, and if I failed to deliver something or delayed something, and I told my boss that, look, it was raining or there was a traffic jam, the response he always gave me was, "Kahani mat batao." So therefore I'm not going to talk about the kahani, but I'll try to share some of the experiences which will hopefully get across with certain meaning to you all. Let me start with the first one, which I really don't have to talk very much, seeing you people here, and the title, Learning. First thing I learned was, and over the years, which has added most value to me, is that to remain a student all your life. And when I say a student, there's a little more than learning. A student is someone who is impatient, asks questions, seeks answers. And I think that's the proactive learning. You have to learn from life. There is no curricula, There are no rankings, but it's entirely self-driven. And that openness, this being defined in various ways, but I thought personally that being a student gave me the maximum sort of excitement to talk about learning. The second lesson I learned was that nothing is more valuable than your values. Nothing is more valuable than your credibility in whichever community, society, business you interact. You have to retain your credibility. If you lose that, you are neither a leader, and actually you are a loser. Credibility comes out of, reflects your brand, reflects your attributes, how people know you, how community knows you. It's the image you project of yourself, it's the model on which your organization culture gets developed. I think here I was very, very fortunate to be associated with companies like Bamalori and Aisha, where the owners, the managers, and everyone slept well because we never compromised with our values. The third lesson I learned was that have self-belief, have confidence, challenge. I recall when I passed out as IIT Roorkee graduate, I had a few jobs, offers. I thought I would not join the atomic energy or the government, and I had an offer as a purchase officer in Ahmedabad from a textile company, offering me a salary of 1,000 rupees a month. Then I got an interview call from Bamalori, a company in Calcutta, and when I went to meet their director in charge, he said the salary will be 200 rupees a month. I said, but that's not one can survive. He said, it's not for your living expenses, it's a subsidy. I had a bit of confidence, or I don't know, arrogance. I said, sir, I have lived on subsidy for the last 20 years. Now it's time I need to stand up on my own. And I finished the interview. Will you believe it? Next morning at home I had an appointment letter with a salary of 500 rupees. The choice was 500 versus 1,000. And I think that is where the self-confidence, values, etc. came to my rescue. And I thought I will join this small company of Bamalori at 500 rupees a month. And thank God, I have never looked back. The second thing within that self-belief and confidence is recognize your limitations. Otherwise, you become arrogant. And once again, limitations of not so significant as a purchase manager, but certainly a lot of people during my career in Calcutta and also subsequently at Aisha, including the state governments, through a lot of temptations, a lot of concessions to start my own enterprise. But then I thought, why should I? I was empowered in my job wherever I was, and I didn't have that backup for a risk-taking ability. That was my limitation. And I'm very happy that I remained for my entire work career a professional without being tagged as an industrialist, and of course enjoyed all the entrepreneurship perspectives during my job. Equally important is this, when you talk about self-confidence, I think we need to shed egos, arrogance. We need to have human perspective. Two things come to my mind when I joined Bamalori. At the shop floor, I thought I am a graduate engineer. I'll be able to add value. Will you believe me? There was not a single thing which I could contribute. And it was the other way around. There was a 55-year-old mechanic running the press shop, a press, Mitra used to be. And what I learned from him was immense. And if I had remained in my graduate engineer tag ego, I would have never learned what I was able to learn from him. Another occasion came where I learned my lesson. I got my first air-conditioned car, Ambassador, and we lived in Panchil Park. We drove out, and at the traffic light, the car stopped, and there was knock knock at the side window. I looked at my wife, who was sitting next, and I said, "Look how things have changed, how good it is." Otherwise, she would have had her hand inside and been, unnecessarily irritating. My wife turned around and said, "Well said, but what about her? Why things have not changed for her? And how can you be so cheerful about that?" That's when I learned that empathy, understanding the other's perspective, is more important than perhaps your own self-confidence. Two other things, again, as part of shedding arrogance, are to make others successful. You cannot be successful unless you have made others successful. Your team, and that's what you do as a parent, as an elder brother or sister. You make your sibling successful. You go out of the way. Try that at your office. Get your competitive professional who is competing with you for the promotion to make him successful and see what you get in return. Similarly, I found making friends at workplace was an immense gain for growth of the business and getting the leadership accepted. I remember there were instances which made me a lifetime friend with many of our suppliers. And one such occasion, auto industry people will recognize those things. There was a vendor in Aurangabad, automobiles. They had a strike. What will you do normally when a supplier has a strike? You will withhold his payments. You will withhold